You know, you can't have a good strategy without a solid plan. And that's exactly what these companies have. They have a solid modernization framework that they're working from. Now, we've seen many of these things, as we see on the right side here, many different ways of saying the framework, but they all say the same thing. They're helping our clients, our customers, go from point A, where they used to be, to the future, point B, where they need to be. This modernization framework, many different places where our customers are within this framework. But what we see are 4 different places where we are engaged. First is the modernization, making sure that your data is not duplicated, making sure the solutions, the tools you're using, are the proper tools to do what you need to do around your most strategic asset. We're talking about the automation part of it. We're talking about being able to place your data in the right place with the right set of circumstances at the right time. We're talking about security. Who isn't talking about security, right? That's probably the most top of mind topic that we'll discuss here today. Ransomware, anyone? Yeah, I know. Has anyone heard of this new tactic that these threat actors, these bad guys are using called double extortion? Well, quite briefly, a double extortion is when the bad guy comes in, they get into your system, they encrypt all of your data, and they say, you know what, you're going to need to pay me now. If you're using a legacy solution, you'll say, you know what, we have backups. We're going to go ahead and restore our infrastructure and keep it moving. And they say, no, we've actually been here for 3 months. And we've stolen all your data. We're not going to tell you which data that we've taken. And if you don't pay us, we're going to release it in 7 days. Now, these bad guys, they're smart. They know if you're using legacy tools, your IT ops and your DevOps are not talking. The team that does the restoration of the software, of the systems, of the applications, is not the same team that has to go and look and see where the blast radius is. With legacy solutions, that will take months. These bad guys know this. Double extortion. You have no choice but to pay. These are the reasons why we need current solutions, modernized solutions for your modernized infrastructure. And of course, harmonization of data. Being able to see everything through one pane of glass. Not having to look in 100 different places. One place to see your data and where it lies and where you want it to be. What are some of the outcomes we look at? We want to reduce the complexity. We want to reduce the cost. And in case of a bad actor, in case of a threat, we want to be able to provide enterprise resiliency. So those are our outcomes, and that's where we're going. Now, what have we seen from technology? One thing we've seen is that each and every time that there is an industry that moves forward, there is a fundamental shift, a fundamental change that we see. These are new problems that are being solved. These are new ways to look at old ways of doing things. There is a reason why, for the transportation, the people that make the ships are not the same people that make the trains. The people that make the trains, they are not the same people that make the automobiles. The automobiles, they're not the same people that make the planes. And we know that the people that make planes are not the same people that make the spaceships. These are different solutions they're each solving. Anybody remember the telegraph? Okay, I hope not. I hope we don't remember the telegraph. I don't remember the telegraph, but you know what I do remember? I do remember cable TV. I do remember when news, instead of coming on at 6 p.m., was available 24 hours a day. Now imagine what that would be like today if we tried to use a telegraph in place of what we have with the Instagrams, the Facebook, the Twitters. These are new ways of thinking. Technology, fundamental shifts. Commerce. Are we even going to be using money, hard money, in 10 years? These are the types of new ways of thinking that we have to have. And by the way, this goes twice for the infrastructure part. What we do know is never has a 2,000-pound gorilla or behemoth in any industry been able to go through such a disruption and still emerge a leader. Again, everything has changed. As a matter of fact, I love this quote up here by Paul Vixie. He's a luminary in the data space. He's the creator of DNS. He said just recently, everything is broken. And ladies and gentlemen, with ransomware, everything is broken. No, we need a new way to look at these old problems. What are some of the problems that we're having? Well, some of the problems that we're having are that these infrastructures are complicated. These infrastructures are vast. They're expensive. There are thousands of databases. There are tens of thousands of VMs. There are 5 or 6 different automation pieces of software against the back end of all of these platforms. To be succinct, these legacy solutions were never created or intended to provide the resiliency and the security we need today. You see, there's a fundamental shift we have to have when talking about modernizing our infrastructure. The old way is very siloed, as we'll see here in a second. And in short, if any of you ever want to go to the cloud, hybrid cloud, multi-cloud, commercial cloud, private cloud, these solutions are not going to get you there. They're not. But what do we end up doing? We see a bunch of siloed teams that are buying all kinds of solutions that don't do the job, many of them overlapping. The same types of solutions to solve the same type of core problems. And guess what? It's not working. We're throwing away money. We're staying in these silos. We're not solving our shared issues. We're staying with legacy tools and manual processes. This is not the way to forward think. Remember, if there's anything you learned from the slide before, it's fundamental shifts that we need to make in our thinking. As a matter of fact, this is one of the first steps in the mind shift that you see right here that we need to take. We need to be able to reduce this cost, reduce the complexity, reduce the duplication of the solutions that aren't solving our issues. The soft savings is in the millions of dollars. And now is the time to do it when discussing that transformation. So once that transformation starts, we find ourselves pulled into some key areas. And when I say pulled into key areas, understand, Rubrik as a company is not the kind of company that wants to jump on a contract, give you a few extra points off, and then say, here you go, thank you, please buy some more. No, we're going to roll up our sleeves, and we're going to join you in this journey, in this transformation. We are going to make sure that your infrastructure is sized properly to go to the hybrid cloud. We're going to understand your dependencies. We're going to understand any automations that you may want, you may have. What is your budget? We're going to make sure that you have DR and COOP testing out of the box. We're going to make sure that you're able to do digital twins, making sure that your environment is safe with the security that you expect from today. Being able to purchase the solution digitally. Digital by default, we call it. These are transformative ideas. Go to the AWS marketplace and download what you need. That's what we're talking about when we talk about the transformational operating system. And once you've started this transformation, we begin to see everything that we have that we can use to our leverage. You know, I like to think of Rubrik like a sports car. And the last thing you want to do is take this sports car that does so much and just drive around in the parking lot in first gear. No. Once you begin to see what modernization looks like, you begin to see the inherent value of Rubrik and all that it brings. As a service, the modern way of looking at things, archiving, disaster recovery, tape to cloud, anyone? Talk about modernization. That's exactly what we're talking about. And it just doesn't stop right there. When we begin to talk about the modernization benefits as far as the resiliency, we're talking about being able to understand that your data is protected. Bring your data back right away. We're talking about live recovery and testing. We're talking about disaster recovery, third-party testing. making sure you have your data where you need it in the most secure way possible. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about live pen testing. We're talking about automated stigging of images. This is what the Army is using right now. They understand what this transformative process should look like. While we undergo these processes, we also understand that there are some investments that we've already made, investments we want to get the most out of during this transformation. We at Rubrik are right there with you, and we're right there with you by providing these types of integrations that you need, whether it's APIs, whether it's direct integrations. We work with all of these vendors. So you can rest assured, while you're doing the right thing for your transformative process, while you're doing the right thing around your most critical asset, your most strategic asset, your data, we will make sure that you're able to get it done and get it done efficiently. We, Rubrik, we're vendor agnostic. We are zero trust data management. So what? So what? Well, we have some real measured outcomes here. These are real world outcomes that we've seen from our customers. These are not pie in the sky numbers here. We're talking about lowering your costs, whether it's on your employees or whether it's on your licensing or whether it's on the complexity. Look at this, 3-to-1 tools in an overall redundancy. Imagine what that does alone for costs in your environment. So we're talking about real, true, measured outcomes, not some pie-in-the-sky thing. And when we're talking about contracts, we're here to help in the very same way. We're going to reduce the complexity. We're going to reduce the cost avoidance. By getting rid of legacy solutions, we're able to increase the efficiency of your employees, of their time. We reduce those labor costs. We reduce the complexity in licensing. We reduce the complexity in rolling out these tools. At the same time, we're answering the new threats of today. We're providing the zero trust while moving you to that hybrid cloud, while we're eliminating those workflows, those manual workflows. And if you're looking for a new contract, we are here to help that as well. We have very flexible consumption options, crawl, walk, run, depending upon the budget, consumption-based models, subscription-based models, you name it. Rubrik is here to help during this transformation process, and we're here to do this with the only immutable file system stock, right out of the box, the only immutable file system that provides instant recovery. We're talking zero downtime. We're talking SLA policies. Backup jobs, what are those? Those are legacy. We're talking about one SLA domain to rule them all. All of your data is protected. We're making sure that framework works the way you want it so that your data is in the right place at the right time with the right set of circumstances. We are zero trust data management. My name is Sterling Wilson, and I really appreciate your time here today. Thank you so much for your interaction. I'll be in the back to answer some questions, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you.